Okay, I'm back in a different shirt, a different day. Don't pay any attention to that. Still here. We're still gonna add some interactions to our button, little simple animations to things. So we jump right back into our Webflow document. We've got all of our elements ready, and we're just gonna click this little lightning bolt in the top right here. It's for interactions. So we've got our button selected here. And while we're in the interactions panel, we're just gonna click plus to add a new trigger. And we want something to happen when we click on it. So mouse click for our button. So on the first click, we want something to happen, right? An action. We're going to start our own animation because we're going to tell it to do a lot of things when we click the Set Sail button. And we already have one interaction created. That's for all the page load elements coming in, so we want a different one. We're just going to click plus. We got a new one. Let's just call this Set Sail Button Click. Great. And now, whatever we put here will happen once the Set Sail button is clicked. So what's the first thing we want to happen? Well, let's give our page a little more life. So we're going to click our boat, Titanic again, and we're going to tell it to move. And our initial state, we always want to set initial state to 0. That just tells it where it is at the start of the interaction. And then let's add another one. It's going to be another move. So then after, let's see, we can delay this 1 second. We can have the duration be about 2 seconds for now. We can always adjust this later. And after that amount of time, let's have it go 500 pixels to the right. Just looks like it's setting sail, as the button says, right? It's almost like we planned that. All right, so the ship is gonna move. And now we also want our iceberg to move as well. So with the iceberg selected, we can click plus, we can click move. Make sure its initial state is 0, because we don't want it to be anywhere at the beginning, besides where we already put it. And then if we go here to the 1 second mark, we can put another move. Oops, now we're on the ship for some reason. Let's go back to our iceberg. Oh, that's why I clicked that. There we go. Just make sure you're highlighted on the right element here. And we're gonna move this down 500. And we want this duration to be 2 seconds as well. Wonderful, if we do that. Great, everything moves. We also want it to fade away. We don't want it to look like Titanic just hits an invisible wall and just stops, right? So we want to add some opacity as well, because that's always nice, gives a nice fade out effect. So click on our Titanic again, we're gonna add opacity. Initially, it's gonna be 100, because we want it to be seen. And then at the 1 second mark, we're gonna delay it, put it down to 0. Perfect. And then we're gonna do the same thing for the iceberg. Initial opacity, initial state, will be set to 100. And then once it hits the 1 second mark, iceberg's opacity also goes down to 0 so that it looks like it's fading away. And let's just select all these elements here, shift just to select them all. We've got our ease function here. Let's put ease out so everything fades out nicely. Nothing abrupt. And let's do duration of 2 seconds. Perfect. When we hit play, looks pretty good. Watch that guy again. Let's maybe change ease out. Let's just do ease. Looks like it's catching a little bit when I do that. Oh yeah, that's a little better. A little more smooth. All right, so everything fades out. We can also affect our button as well. And so this doesn't need to move anywhere. We can just have it fade away just like the rest. So with our button selected, we can add a new opacity. Initial state is 100. And then at this mark, opacity will be 0. Great. And this was 2 seconds, right? Boom. All right, all those buttons and elements look all right. And there's one more cool thing that I want to do just to add another layer of design to this. So let's go to our sky element. So we're in our button click still. Actually, so if we go over here to our panel, let's go to our cartoon container actually. We're going to save our interaction, so we're going to come back to it. But in our cartoon container, so this is the container that holds our sky and our ocean elements. So if you think of the whole cartoon container as a box, 50% of that box is sky and 50 is ocean. I think the divide is 60-40, but you get the point. So if these were both hidden, sky and ocean, there would be an empty box behind it. And right now there's no color set to that as a background, but I'm gonna do a little trick here. So if I have our cartoon container selected, I'm gonna go to background color. I'm gonna give this guy a gradient. So if I click add new background, I'm gonna click linear gradient. I'm gonna get our first color to be A40606. And then our second color over here, we're gonna make this D98324. So now, we've got a nice kind of sunset color gradient, as you can see. Might be a little hint of what I'm trying to get at here. So that is behind the sky right now. So you can't see it obviously because the sky is blocking it. But if we go back to our set sail interaction, we can add another little interaction to occur. Let's make sure our sky is selected. So this is just that whole light blue box on top. And let me just get that color of this guy. So this is the light blue color. I'm just going to copy that hex value. Go back to the button interaction here. I'm going to add a background color. Oops, I'm on the button element. We want to be on our sky. Alright, so sky's background color. In its initial state, make sure we have this triggered. I'm going to paste in that light blue color, great. But then, I'm going to add a new background color for the sky. And I'm going to make it transparent, so it will not have a color. So, if the light blue square that you currently see fades into no background color, anything that's behind it will become visible. And what's behind it? That beautiful sunset color that we just made. So if we just make this transparent, you'll see the beautiful sunset appears. And we want this to occur a little ways before the rest of the interaction's finished so we can appreciate our work and see what it actually looks like before the screen disappears altogether. So these guys are taking 2 seconds to complete. And right now this is 0.5. So you know what, that's okay. We'll see how that looks. So if we go back, play our interaction. Not bad, not bad. We can save this. Let's click preview. Oops. When I click set sail, there we go. Everything fades away as if we are starting our journey here. And the sky fades away as well into the background color. Beautiful. It's almost like time passing, right? Okay. Okay, one last thing that I really want to do is just have our whole cartoon container fade out because we're anticipating the next page and the loading screen specifically to fade into view as this page transitions to the next once we click the button. And I just want to make sure nothing looks abrupt or jagged, so let's just have our whole cartoon container, which holds all of our elements, fade out when we click the button. So I'm just going to go over here, back to our button, interaction. I'm going to make sure our cartoon container is selected. And I'm going to click opacity. Initial state is 100% because we want to see everything that's happening within it. But then, by the end over here, make sure this happens after all the other interactions are complete because we don't want the whole container to fade out before we can see all the work we just did, right? So I'm just going to click opacity again and have this fade to 0. Cool. So if I click play, we see the sunset, we see everything move, and then everything fades to white. Wonderful. Let's make our body's background color a black, because right now it is white. So this way, it looks more kind of cinematic, right? It's just fading into a blackness. So I love how the button always pops up right when the page loads. I don't know what that's about. Fades, fades, gorgeous. All right. Okay, so now when we click publish, make sure it's checked off. We can just publish this baby up. And let's take a look. Press this up arrow over here. Everything fades in nicely. Got our hover on our button here. And then we click set sail. Nice sunset, and everything fades away into the abyss. Beautiful. And we get the fade to black, which is just allowing us to bring in the next thing. All right. Not too bad, you guys. So if you want to see what happens next, we'll bring in the next main content page, and this is where everything is going to live and all the cool elements, all the grids, the pictures, and the content itself. So now this little introduction page is out of the way, we can get down to the nitty-gritty, do the fun stuff. So stick around. We'll see you in a bit.